All right. Which one of you knew I had ADHD and level 3 autism and didn't bother to tell me? No, because I genuinely just found this out a couple of weeks ago. And now everything about my life makes so much more sense. I have to give credit to your internet mom for actually prompting me to look into this more, because she just asked me a simple question, and that was if my Wally AU, Hidden Rainbow Wally, was on the spectrum. And I told her, I'm not so quick to say that he is, but it's only because I don't have an extensive amount of knowledge about the spectrum to give a definitive answer. And I'm still not so quick to say that he is. However, that led to me going down a rabbit hole. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg with this one, but at seemingly the exact same time as I was looking into the autism spectrum to learn more so I could actually give like a definitive answer, I wound up on ADHD TikTok. It started off with me just stumbling upon an audio of the ADHD frequency, where it's a certain frequency that's supposed to like quiet your brain and basically stop you from overthinking. That worked for me because I could not form a thought to save my life other than, it's quiet. I'm not overthinking for once. It's quiet. And because the algorithm is going to algorithm, that led to me being shown more videos like that, and I stumbled across a video from another user that was talking about the pat down, the checklist you go over with yourself to make sure you have everything before you leave the house. Mine goes phone, wallet, keys, vape, charger, and now coat. I struggle to remember to bring my coat. I go through this entire pat down like 4 or 5 times every night just to make sure I am absolutely positive I have everything, and I have to check the door handle at least a couple of times to make sure my apartment is locked for the night before I go to work. And don't even get me started on hyperfocus and hyperfixations. I made a list. Butlering in the personal service industry, wearing all black despite not being emo or goth, cosplaying, furries, witchcraft and paganism. I still identify as a pagan, but I don't perform witchcraft so much anymore. Emergency preparedness, quilting, knitting, pearls, jewelry making, and now, silver stacking. And I just thought of this too, all of the books that I've started over the years and have just never finished. And those are just the short-term ones that have died within like a year or so. That doesn't even begin to get into the long-term obsessions that have just become a part of my identity. Horses, cryptozoology, the X-Men, horror movies, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, anime, and now, frickin' Welcome Home and the Rainbow Factory AU. Oh, my friend Morgan wouldn't let me hear the end of this one if I didn't mention it. Anything that has to do with Tom Hiddleston and his version of Loki from the Thor movies. Looking into all this also caused a memory to resurface from the 4th grade when I was given a bookmark that had a yellow transparent edge on it, and that was to help me focus on reading because I was constantly losing focus and losing my place in the book. And they thought that that would help. Did it help? No. I wound up losing the bookmark, and the bookmark didn't help anyway because all it would take was me zoning out for 30 seconds for me to lose my place in the damn book. Now, how I figured out I was on the spectrum was mainly through Illy Animations on YouTube and her video describing her experiences being on the spectrum. And those experiences being almost identical to my own. The big thing that stuck out to me was when she was talking about how she was constantly bullied in school for basically being the weird kid, and her trying to act more like the people around her, and it not working and just weirding people out even more. You know what that's called? Masking. And I did the exact same thing when I was in school. Another big thing for me? Eye contact. I struggle with eye contact even when it's with myself on my phone recording a damn TikTok. Another thing, not picking up on social cues or processing other people's sarcasm despite being a sarcastic person myself. And it doesn't even register until like later that day or a couple of days later, and I realize, oh, that's what they meant. That's what was going on. And just a couple of more things that probably fall under this category. Not liking to wear jeans for like my entire childhood because I felt like I was suffocating, but liking turtlenecks because it felt like a full body hug. Also, for my entire life, I've basically walked on my toes, which led to my dad calling me Twinkle Toes whenever he caught me doing it. And that was not an indicator to anybody. Now, at the end of the day, I do have to keep in mind that this is still currently a self-diagnosis. I have not had all of this evaluated by a medical professional in any way. But it just makes too much damn sense. Like, my entire life makes sense now. I feel like I have gotten all of the answers to my life that I was missing before. Anywho, that's been my life for the past, like, 3 weeks or so, in case you've been wondering where I've been. Oh yeah, thanks to that video, I could totally relate to this comment. Like, I guess everybody knew that I was neurospicy, except for me, apparently. I'm still in the self-diagnosis stage, but I have taken a couple of tests, including the Autism Spectrum Quotient and the RADS test, just to see where exactly I'm at. And, that was an experience. On the Autism Spectrum Quotient, I wound up scoring a 31, which is just above that 29-point threshold that they have, but didn't quite reach the 32. So, kind of up in the air from what I gleaned from the results of that. So that's what led to me taking the RADS test. And, oh boy, there it is. There it is. Basically what the results of this indicate, based on the score chart, basically suggests that there is strong evidence to suggest that I have the autism. And while the RADS test did help, I didn't like some of the questions. Like this one, for example, I speak with a normal rhythm. What does that mean? Can we have an E option? I don't know. Because I don't know with this question. I don't know if I speak with a normal rhythm. What is a normal rhythm? What exactly are you trying to ask me? Or this one, the phrase, "I've got you under my skin," makes me uncomfortable. Well, that phrase worded in that specific way makes me uncomfortable. Like, I know and I understand and comprehend what it means to have someone or something get under your skin. But wording it like that, that was just like a hard no for me. Then there was this one, I cannot tell when someone's flirting with me. It has to be blatantly obvious, like pickup lines and compliments and stuff like that. That is, you know, when I can tell someone is obviously trying to flirt with me. But if it's any more subtle than that, like Riz, for example, or anything that is just subtle, I have a hard time telling, like, okay, are they trying to flirt with me, or are they just being nice? Like, I have had to tell people in the past, you have to tell me if you are interested in me, because I am that dumb. This is also a question that tripped me up. It's pretty much the same as speaking in a normal rhythm. I usually speak in a normal tone. What do you mean? I don't understand. I put never true for this one because I've always been told that I talk too loudly or I need to quiet down. So maybe that's what they meant. I don't know. So yeah, I guess the results are unofficially in, I guess. because I still haven't had this evaluated by a medical professional, but this is going to be an interesting topic to bring up to my mom because she is a medical assistant, and none of this has ever been brought up to me. Also, I think I got the levels mixed up in my previous video. I think I'm a level 1. Whatever the level is for high-functioning autism, that's what I got. Now, you see, people being assholes is something that I can actually handle. See, what you gotta understand is I've been creating and posting content publicly on the internet for nearly a decade now, so I've encountered my fair share of assholes on the internet. And I've had social media for longer than that, so I've seen my fair bit of assholery and tomfoolery on the internet. I'm basically at the point where I'll post what I want to post and talk about what I want to talk about, and people can just take it or leave it. Because I don't care if you're upset by it. No, I genuinely did not know that I had ADHD or the autism. Like, I thought I was just weird, eccentric, or, as some of my former teachers would call me, animated. Prior to winding up on ADHD TikTok and doing research on the autism spectrum, I did feel like something wasn't quite right with me, because to a certain extent I started feeling like I'm a child trapped in a grown man's body. Like, who gave me permission to be an adult? Because I need an adult. And then I would meet someone who is the same age, if not older than I am, that is even more immature, and I would just be like, nah, I'm good. And then that thought would just get pushed to the back of my mind for a little bit longer. Someone else left a comment on the TikTok that this comment is from, that finding all of this out makes me even cooler than I already was. I don't think it makes me seem cooler. I think what it does is it just gives an explanation as to why I am the way that I am. It's like, oh no, nothing's wrong with me, I'm just neurodivergent. But yeah, assholes on the internet, I'm not all that particularly worried about. If someone has a problem with me having ADHD or autism, or hell, even just being self-diagnosed, you know, that's their issue, the way that I see it. Because they're not me, they haven't dealt with what I've dealt with, and I can say comfortably that those two things definitely explain the weirdness that is this. Yes, actually, like I said in previous videos, finding out that I have ADHD and high-functioning autism actually explains a lot about me, and I feel like the answers to my life have been given. Number 1, overstimulation. I feel like I've always gotten overstimulated very, very easily. I don't like places that are too bright, too loud, or large groups of people. When I was younger, I always preferred it if I was in a place that was dark and quiet. And to this day, I still prefer it if I'm in a place that is dark and quiet. This light that's in my entryway is the only light that really stays on throughout the night when I'm at home. I only prefer ample lighting if I am busy and actually need to see. I don't go to concerts because I don't like crowds. I don't like traffic or high traffic areas, and I don't like being a part of big groups. If I am in a group of people that my brain has dubbed too big, if I cannot remove myself from the situation, I will just not participate. If I get overstimulated when I'm at work, I will go actually to the far side of the property where the lights do not reach and it is perfectly quiet, and I will stay there until I'm ready to come back out and work again. And I do happen to work a job that allows for me to do that. When I'm at home, sometimes I will just need everything to stop, and I'll turn off the TV, I'll put down my phone, I'll turn off the lights, and I will just sit until I am ready to do again. Number 2, hyperfixations. I never really gave it much thought before because I thought it was just something that everybody dealt with, but it baffles me how many things in the past I have gotten insanely into just suddenly, and then within a few months it is completely dead to me. Pearls and jewelry making, anyone? I have regrets. Hopefully with silver stacking, I have found a hyperfixation that will actually work for me. But even now, I have moments where I have to be insanely disciplined because I will go into what I refer to as self-destruct mode, where I will just be like, entire paycheck into this one thing. The upside, though, is that if anybody ever has any questions to anything that I've ever hyperfixated on, I can answer those questions because I know virtually everything there is to know about that topic because I get just that into it. Number 3, vocal stimming. I'm not sure if that's like an actual thing, but it is a thing that I do. I make sounds, and they are sounds that I will only make if I am comfortable around someone. Number 1. Number 2. Meh. Number 3. The first one I just picked up from somebody else that I follow a couple years back, and I just haven't stopped doing it. The second one is normally a greeting of sorts to let other people know I am around because I have a bad tendency to sneak up on people. And the third one is normally a noise that I make if I am stressed, overwhelmed, or just done with some form of bullshit. Or just for no particular reason at all, other than I just feel like making the noise. Number 4 is something that makes me think I should have answered differently in terms of the whole rhythm question with the RADS test, like I speak in a normal rhythm. I don't think that I do. Because I do this. Did you notice it? I jump around with different parts when I record because I cannot just sit myself down and just speak, because otherwise we will be here for 10 minutes every single time, because at some point my brain just shuts off, it doesn't know what to say, and then I'm sitting here thinking about what I need to say next so I can make my point. It's why I hate my old YouTube videos from when I first started, because I didn't know a damn thing about editing. And so there are a lot of moments in those videos where I'm just sitting there going, okay, what was I going to say? Point made. It's why I prefer to have my videos scripted now, so I know exactly what I want to say, so it's somewhat organized. I don't carry on forever and a day, and I don't waste anybody's time. Number 5, I think we're on now. I have a hard time picking up on sarcasm, despite being a sarcastic person myself. I have a regular customer at work who will pick on me all the time. I know he's going to pick on me when I see him pull up. It happens every single time. He just means it in good fun. He's a funny guy. But I never pick up on it when we actually start talking. I take everything way too personally, and then I wind up getting upset, and I think it has something to do with my mindset. My mindset is, if I am doing something that I deem important, I take it seriously, such as my job that allows me to pay my bills and feed my hyperfixations. So there's not a lot of time where my brain will make room for funny business in those situations. I think it's part of the reason why I don't like Donald Trump either, and I can't handle his jokes and sarcasm, because he's running for president. A job that my brain registers as being something very serious and you have to take seriously, and when it's not being taken seriously, I start having problems. And listen, I do understand that there is a time and a place for lightheartedness and funny business, even with the President of the United States and that position. But when it's being called by his supporters, every single thing that comes out of his mouth, no. Just no. Number 6, the procrastination. I think I heard that the ADHD community refers to this as in-cup, where there's something that needs to be done. I need to do it. I know I need to do it, and I know that there's no real way around it, but for some reason I cannot bring myself to do it. And so it keeps on getting put off and put off and put off until like the very last possible second. I've done this with important phone calls. I've done this with tasks at work. I have done this with my rent and my bills. And I don't know why, because it always works out better for me if I just get it done and over with as soon as possible. But for some reason, my brain just won't let me. All of these are things that I have dealt with for pretty much my entire life and have either been written off as me being lazy, weird, eccentric, etc. And it's always felt like it's been sort of a, yeah, that's close but not quite sort of situation. Like there's something else going on that just needs to be identified. And I've identified it. Sorry this video was long, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it.